Sawadee Cup, May 24th. Good intentions. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Yes. Good intentions are useless unless they are expressed in appropriate action. Oh, there's that appropriate word again. I'm not a big fan of the APP word. But okay, it's there. Let's see what he has to say. Let's break it down, shall we? Let's go to the videotape. Good intentions may be an appropriate starting point for achievement, but they will go nowhere unless you follow through with action. Yeah. Many people confuse intentions with achievement, like joining the gym and never going. Yeah, I got you. After all, it is the idea that is most important, they reason. In reality, the most mediocre idea acted upon is far more valuable than a flash of genius that resides only in your mind. Developing the habit of action may be difficult at first, but the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. So, it's a couple of things there. Practice. That coming up with an idea. I recommended before this Robert Allen, who's the no money down guy from the 80s. He wrote a book called The $1 Million Idea. And that's a great book, and it really gets you thinking and inspires you maybe to invent something, come up with something. Ideas are money. And all Napoleon is reminding us today is while ideas are money, that's only true if you take action. You've got to not only think of the idea, but implement it, put it into play. So I talk a lot about milestones, mini goals, small goals. And what those are is action, right? Because you've got this big, hairy ass. And I do have a big, hairy ass. Not too much information, I know. But big, hairy ass goal. And you got to break it down into these small things. Okay, that's all part of the planning stage. That's all part of your due diligence. That's all part of your business plan, right? You got a roadmap. You got to know where you're going before you get there. But then you actually got to start walking or hop in the car and drive, whatever, up on the subway and start working, taking action towards those goals, those mini goals that lead up to your big hairy ass goal, right? So that's all he's saying is the best BHAG in the world isn't much good to you if you don't put the time and effort into taking action and achieving some of those smaller goals that lead you to where you need to be. I went food shopping yesterday. Yeah, I actually stopped binge watching TV. I've been watching Banshee, which if you never saw Banshee, is a great fucking TV show. Great. Probably one of the best TV shows I've ever seen. Great acting, great plot, great writing, a lot of action. It's a good series. It really is fun to watch. I was able to download it, through streaming stuff, using the Kodi app, if you're familiar with that, on like smart TVs, Android TVs. KODI, Kodi. It used to be called XMBC or RC, Xbox Media Resource Center, something like that, but now it's called Kodi. And it's just a front end where you add add-ons, video add-ons, different apps that go out and scrape the internet and find movies and TV shows. So I found Banshee and I was binge watching that. I watched all of it. It was great. Again, this is the third time I think I've seen it, and it holds up. It's really good. Like I said, good writing, good acting, like The Sopranos. The Sopranos really impressed me when it came out. Something different, like watching a mini movie, over weeks develop on TV. Banshee's like that. And then, of course, once I got into binge mode, I started watching Dexter. A lot more people are familiar with Dexter than Banshee, but they're both, well acted, well written, interesting TV shows that hold your interest. And then my third or fourth favorite, I guess it'd be Banshee #1, probably Sopranos #2. Sopranos, Dexter, it's close. I like both of them a lot. Then the fourth place is Burn Notice. I like that one too. That was good characters, good writing. Well, not as good as Banshee, Sopranos, Dexter, but good, watchable. So I've been binge watching, and so I went to the supermarket because I was out of basics, milk, bread, and eggs, just basic stuff. But instead of walking my fat ass across the street to the mall, which is one of the reasons why I picked this condo, it's walking distance to a mall with a supermarket on the bottom floor, I hopped in the truck because I'm American, from America. Hopped in my big Ford Ranger. This is way too big for Thailand. Hard to park, hard to maneuver around the little narrow alleys and shit that are Thailand. But who gives a shit, right? I'm American. They gotta make the roads wider because us Americans have big cars. I won't wait for that to happen anytime soon. And I went to Big C, which is, as I've said many times on here, the Walmart of Thailand, and it's huge. And not only did I go to the Big C, but I went to the Big C Super Center, right, which is like super Walmart. It's got clothes, it's got appliances, it's got, golf clubs, it's got bicycles, it's got, pens. I needed a pen. I lost my pen somehow that I brought down from Mahang Song. So when I write, like I make a list to go shopping, I need my pen. So I bought a pen. It's been irking me for a while. I got some vitamin D, with the COVID crap going around. You want to build your immune system up, and the best way to do it is vitamin D as we get older, and especially if you get less sun. If you're not out in the sun, if you're not like a pool guy or contractor, roofer, whatever, where you're out in the sun, you have a vitamin D deficiency, and that actually is opens the door to COVID and things like it that prey on the immune system. So zinc, magnesium, vitamin D, that's all. You don't need a fucking shot. You don't need 2 shots. You don't need a vaccine, passport. You don't need any of that crap. You don't need to be swabbed. You just gotta up your vitamin D so you're not vitamin D deficient, which the vast majority of people are. Because they don't spend enough time in the sun, especially Thais, because they're paranoid about the sun. So I mentioned a couple of times O. Williams, who was one of my agents, and she's from Thailand, and she got me looking at Thailand as a possible retirement destination as opposed to Italy, which was my original plan. And I was talking to her. She had a question for me, a broker question, and we were chatting back and forth. She has Line, the little green app, which is like WhatsApp and Skype, where you can video call. So she video called me and was asking a question about a offer one of her clients was putting in on commercial property. And I said to her, hey, while I got you on the phone, I got a question for you. Since you lived in this country 27 years and still have family and stuff living here, you're Thai, you know more about it than I do, being here a year. I was in the truck the other day, and I was at a stoplight, and it was 97 degrees Fahrenheit out. I don't know what that is Celsius. I'm still getting the hang of that conversion, right? And every single Thai person, not one, but 30 or 40 of them who are on these motorcycles to my left and right. The Thais do something called filtering, where they come to the front, they wiggle through the traffic in their bikes, and come to the front of the light when it turns red. Every single one of them, 30, 40 of them, were in sweaters, coats, 97 degrees, coats, jackets, I mean, just covered. They weren't in shorts and polo shirt like all the Farang are, like me. And I'm like, what? Why would you be wearing a sweater or a coat, a jacket in 97 degree weather? It makes absolutely no sense. You've got to be sweating your balls off, whatever. Even the women do it too. But you got to be hot. It's 97 degrees. And her answer is very enlightening, especially in light of the whole last summer race was a huge thing in America, right? And all these riots, BLM, right? Black Lives Matter. Race became a focal point for the news, and you're going to think about whatever you see on the news. People are programmed that way. They learn from the TV, they learn from the internet, and both of those things were almost exclusively focused on COVID, number one, and race, number two, right? And that's for a reason. Obviously, you're being manipulated, but let's not get into the politics of it. So, race became a very central talking point and a big tension. It created a lot of tension. in America. And I actually have said before here, in other videos, but I'll say it again. So the Thais are racist. You're like, what? Thailand's paradise. What are you talking about? What do you mean racist? They're Asian. How can they be racist? What? Back in the day, there was royalty, right? And upscale, shop owners, business people, you know what I mean? The upper class. There was upper class and upper middle class. Although there wasn't really a big middle class in Thailand. It was the upper class and the lower class, and that was it. Really, you only had two classes. And the upper class were inside, the palace, or inside their business, inside their home. They made money from businesses and from being, royalty or whatever, government, right? Government, high up guys in the government. They're in houses, they're in cars, they're in offices, which, modern day, it's air conditioned and all that, but even back then, it was better to be inside than out. The lower class, the vast majority of the people, were farmers. Rice, jasmine rice, you've heard of, the long grain jasmine rice, is the number one crop here, and they grow it for themselves and eat it themselves every freaking day. And they also export it, and have exported it for years. So you were either wealthy and inside, or poor and outside, working in the fields. And I talked about vitamin D deficiency. You're out in the damn field all day. The sun's on you all day. So over the years, talking about hundreds of years ago, you were poor and dark from being out in the sun all day. Like, think of a Filipino, right? Filipinos are dark-skinned, like darker brown. Or you were rich and inside and not exposed to the sun. Think Japanese people. They're Asian, but they're a lot lighter skinned than Filipino people, right? Filipino people in general are darker skinned than Japanese people or Korean people, right? So in Thailand, your status, your social status, to this day, is based upon the color of your skin. That's racist, right? Dark-skinned Thais are seen as a lower status than light-skinned Thais. So, and I'm not guessing at this. There's several facts I have that back it up, including that in the whorehouses of Bangkok and Phuket or Pattaya, whatever. I mentioned Simon before. Simon is an English expat. Actually back in England now. He didn't survive the lockdowns. He had a guest house and closed it up and went back to England with his Thai wife. But he did a YouTube channel called Land of Smiles, and that was one of the resources I used to learn about Thailand before I came here. I kind of immersed myself in Thailand, learned about it, studied it before I decided to, retire here. Simon used to be a manager of a go-go bar, girly bar, whatever you want to call it. And his channel is very informative and has a lot of good information. And he talked about the levels. They sit on benches, and the further back and higher up you are, the lighter the skin. And the lighter the skin, the more money you cost for prostitutes. It's a thing. It's real. And who's not a prostitute, she's the farthest thing from a prostitute. But when we were talking about the commercial, and I asked her about the jackets, like, why the hell are Thai people wearing coats and jackets when it's 97 degrees? Her answer, and this is what I love about she's just straightforward. She tells it like it is. She said, we want to be white. That was her answer to me as to why they're wearing coats at 97 degrees. Thai people don't want to be in the sun. They don't want to be dark. They want to be white. Thought that was very enlightening. That was a very eye-opening answer for me, because in a million years I never would have come up with that they're wearing coats and jackets in 97 degree weather because they don't want to be dark. They want to be light skinned. She said they want to be white, but what she meant was light skinned. They're Thai, they're not white, but they want to be Japanese almond colored skin, or light pale yellow, as opposed to dark brown, or even light brown. Whatever. Okay, so there it is. It's a part of the culture. It's a real thing. So now, how does that affect daily life here, especially for an expat? It really doesn't. I mean, other than That's probably one of the reasons we're shown a lot of respect here, and we have a pretty high social status because we're light skinned, right? So we're seen as above, the field workers, and that with the money, most Farang bring money. They're living in a foreign country, which is usually more expensive, but when you're coming from America, it's way cheaper to live in Thailand than it is in America, but they don't necessarily know that. So they assume every Farang has a lot of money until proven otherwise. You're thought to be guilty of having lots of money until you prove that you're broke, unless and that's older Farang too, I should say, because it's definitely age discrimination between backpackers, young people. They're seen as having no money, and older guys like me who are seen as having money, right? And a lot, I'm financially stable. I flipped and all that stuff, so yeah, I get it. Guilty as charged, but they assume every older Farang has money, and that's not true. A lot of people come over from the States and Europe, Great Britain, on pensions, and when they're on a limited budget, they're not wealthy, especially back in their countries. But once again, the Thais just automatically assume they got tons of money. And what's interesting too with the skin thing is the Farang that is looked down upon the most here in Thailand is Indian, right? Not American Indian, but Asian Indians, and part of that is the dark skin, right? They're darker than Americans and most Europeans, France, Great Britain. So there's that racist thing again, and money, right? The Indians, and call me racist or whatever, ethnocentric, I don't know what the word would be, but as a group, right, Indian tourists are thrifty, right? They're tight with a dollar, with a rupee, with a euro, with a baht. And once again, the Thais, as I've said many times, worship at the almighty order of the baht. So guys like me who come here and put $26,000 in the bank for a visa, wow, ooh, Coon Greg, Coon, like I said before, is a thing of respect. Mr. Greg, basically. Wow, ooh, he's got 800,000 baht. It's 26 grand, but to a Thai person who makes 300 or 350 baht a day on average, 800,000 baht is a shitload of money, right? They got to work a very long time to get 800,000 baht. Here, I'm moving it into the bank, no big deal. I need it for my visa. Yeah, it's got to sit there 5 months, so what? Right? They're like, holy shit, that dude's rich. No, I'm not rich, but you see what I'm saying? It's all perspective. It's all, based on what you're used to. So the Indians come here, and once again, watch YouTube. This is not me commenting on Indian population. Watch YouTube. There's actually an Indian blogger who goes down through the red light district of it, and it's funny as hell. He'll negotiate with the streetwalkers. So there's echelons, like I said, with the sex workers. And the high class, very pretty girls, they know who's pretty and who's not, who's a little bit bigger, who's petite, whatever. They know what's in demand. They know how to serve their market, their customers. It's very good business, billion-dollar business, the sex trade before COVID. So the younger, whiter, prettier girls are on the top echelon, and they sell for a night, for hours, or whatever the hell they do, long-term, short-term. They sell for more money. Then down the thing is more of the medium skin girls, maybe southern, whatever, a little bit darker, a little bit heavier, a little bit older, not quite as pretty. They go for less money. And then there's, some guys who the main concern is price, right? And that's them. Cheaper than the go-go bar girls or the fishbowl, that's what Simon called it, fishbowl girls behind glass and on benches. It's the street girls. They're independents. They don't have a mama son. They're not controlled. They're not tested for STDs and things like that. So it's a little dated, but they're cheaper. They're out in the street. They're freelancers. So what's the difference? Okay, once again, the Simon was doing this stuff in 19, so it was 3 years ago. But he talked about the top row of girls might call it 4,000 baht. So that's $130 to spend some time, and I think it's an hour, a couple hours. Once again, sorry, I haven't gone and picked up a hooker, so I don't know, but it's out there. Just look at Land of Smiles, look at other, do Bangkok Red Light District, whatever, and find YouTube videos on it. I'm sure somebody's putting the prices out there and for how long it is, but 4,000 was the top tier girls. They might have been models, they might have been on TV or something like that. So $130 to be with a prostitute, and as low as, I think it was 1,500 baht, so $50. So from 50 to 130 was the inside price. Now on the street, you could get anywhere from 500 baht, which is $15, less than $20, right? Because 600 baht's $20. So 500 baht up to 1,500, depending upon the girl. The freelancers charge whatever they want, right? So now you're talking $50 on the top end, but 15, 18, whatever the hell 500 baht is, dollars on the low end. The Indian guys, and once again, watch the videos, don't take my word for it, would go to a girl and barter. They didn't want to pay 500 baht for a woman for the night. And not, more than one Indian dude did this. So the Thai women hate Indian guys because they haggle with them and try to get them cheaper than whatever the rate is. It is what it is, right? So they're not very popular. They're not very popular here in Thailand. So I thought it was interesting. I thought her answer, as usual, was honest and forthright and interesting. We want to be white. When she said that, I was just like, what the? Okay, alrighty then. Honest answer, interesting answer. Part of Thailand. That's a part of Thailand too, like everything else. And once again, how does that affect you coming here, living here, being a digital nomad, making your money online if you're younger, or retirement? It doesn't. It really doesn't, other than you're showing a certain amount of respect because you're a Farang, and part of that, small part of that, is the fact that you're light-skinned. So they like it. They put value on being light-skinned. So it is what it is. I will speak with you guys later, and let me recap again the lesson, the almighty lesson, now that I've rambled for 22 minutes. Good intentions are useless unless they're expressed in action. That's absolutely true. Your success is judged by yourself and others based on what you've accomplished, and without action you don't accomplish anything. There it is. Boom. Talk to you all later.